work. He was Professor Emeritus and Department of Genealogy, University of Madras. Currently, he is advisor of Corporate Bank, and he actually retired from the services of Indian Bank in Chennai. He has done a wonderful work in the field of economics and marketing, and including even the consultancy with the World Bank also. He has published many books, among which the few are very, very popular, just like Acharya Kund Kund and Jain Philosophy, Pure Soul and its Infinite Treasure, Essence of Samaysar, Sarlekhna also, Essence of Sarlekhna, many important work in the field of economics, as well as he has done in the journalism also. He has a very reputed record, very highly intellectual person, and with all this, I really sincerely welcome to Professor Jayantilal Jain, and I invite him to deliver his talk. So first talk now will be from Professor Jayantilal Jain. So can you, Rahul, can you connect Professor Jayantilal Jain and unmute him? Hello, Professor Jayantilal Jain.
Okay.
I have introduced him. Yes, please, Jayantilal, please start. I already completed. I don't know whether people could hear your introduction or not. I have introduced
to everybody. Should I talk in Hindi or English? There are people requesting to talk to me in Hindi. I don't know what to do. Rajmalji, please guide. Hello. Hello.
हाँ जयंतीलाल जी, मुझे आपकी आवाज मुझे नहीं सुनाई दे रही है, लेकिन इसलिए मुझे लगता है किसी को भी नहीं सुनाई दे रही हो।
I don't know.
ऐसा लगता है।
I mean, here everything is very clear, and some people have commented that they are able to hear. So I don't know what to do.
एक सेकंड फिर से बोलिए, जरा बंद कर। हेलो जयंतीलाल जी बोलिए।
नहीं, some people are saying that they are able to hear.
Okay. If it is done, it is okay. You
And
can start.
Second thing, some people are requesting to talk in Hindi, not in English. So what should I do? हेलो
हेलो राजमल जी, मेरी आवाज आ रही है?
आज तो नहीं है, बहुत कम आ रही है, लेकिन आप वो लोग बोल रहे हैं कि आप उनको अलाउ नहीं कर रहे हो कनेक्ट होने के लिए।
जी मैंने उनको अलाउड किया है, वे डिस्कनेक्ट हो रहे हैं, शायद से उनका नेटवर्क का प्रॉब्लम है। उनको को-होस्ट बनाया है।
दूसरा प्रॉब्लम ये आ रहा है कि जयंतीलाल जी की आवाज नहीं आ रही है।
जी मेरे को तो आ रही है जयंतीलाल जी जैन ना, जो फिलहाल डेस्कटॉप पे है, जयंतीलाल जी जैन।
यस यस।
हाँ, और एक बात कि बहुत सारे लोग जो पद्मावती माता के कार्यक्रम में अभी अपने साथ ही जुड़े हुए हैं, उनकी आईडी अलग है, मैं चैट बॉक्स में दे रहा हूँ। बहुत सारे पद्मावती माता के भक्त हैं, वो इस ग्रुप में ज्वाइन हुए हैं, तो कृपया करके वे अलग आईडी पे जाए। इसकी लिंक, यूजर नेम और पासवर्ड मैं चैट बॉक्स में डाल रहा हूँ, सभी ध्यान रखें। यू बी कंटिन्यू सर। जो हिंदी में बात कर रहे, ऐसे बोल रहे हैं, वो सारे शायद से पद्मावती माता के ग्रुप के हैं, ठीक है?
Okay, so I will continue. Okay.
Yeah.
So my Jai Jinendra to everybody. My topic today is Jain Heritage of Daslakshan Festival and its universal application. So I will divide the topic into two parts. One relating to Jain heritage of Daslakshan, and the second relating to universal application of this principle. So in these two parts, I will try to confine my talk today or discussion. We are in this particular forum talking about heritage and things like that. So it just occurred to me that we have just celebrated our Daslakshan festival, and we realize that the heritage that it gives to us and what we have inherited from our acharyas, munis, and so many tirthankaras. That's marvelous, and the concept itself is very much applicable to everybody in all aspects of life, and that's why I thought I will talk about it in today's discussion. Now, talking about its real importance is that you just see that the principle of anger, forgiveness, or things like that apply to everybody in the universe, from all human beings. It is irrespective of caste, religion, or whatever you are following, because nobody likes anger. It is applicable to everybody. So that aspect I will come to later. But first we'll talk about how this concept is inherited by all of us, and that's what we'll try to discuss in the beginning. First thing I wanted to say is that it is an eternal concept. It has been prevailing eternally, and it's being some disturbances. Okay, it is being celebrated from time immemorial. All our Tirthankaras and Acharyas, they have preached about it, and that's why it becomes an eternal festival. It is not linked to any individual. It is not linked to even any event, but it is the properties of the soul that are being emphasized in this particular Daslakshan Dharmas. Now, you just imagine that all Jains prevailing or residing in all parts of the world, they celebrate it. And that's how these concepts become very important. Talking about heritage, I will just first talk about the story, or not story, but the real, when we look at that in terms of cycle of time, there are six types of time cycles that are enunciated or described in our scriptures. And that starts from the first, the very happy period, which is of 4 Kodakodi Sagar, second period, which is of 3 Kodakodi Sagar, and third period, which is of 2 Kodakodi Sagar. And like that, the fourth period referring to 1 Kodakodi Sagar, less 42,000 years, and then 21,000 years, the 5th era, and the 6th era also 21,000 years. So 5th and 6th both together becomes about 42,000 years. So that is how the time dimensions or time duration goes. The most important thing to be noticed is that at the end of this, I'm not talking about time cycle, but I wanted to refer it because we can understand the importance of this particular scripture. And this reference I am talking from Tilupandati, part 2. So anybody wants to read more can go to that kind of a thing. So what happens that when the 6th period is about to be over, 49 days before that, there is almost like a great upheaval or pralaya on this part of the universe, particularly in Bharat Kshetra. And that's why during that time, for 7 days each, there is a rain of fire and so many things. There are 7 sequences of chemical waters and all those things. As a result of that, the earth is almost, or the Bharat Kshetra is almost like Aryavrat particularly, or earth, let us say for our purposes, gets almost like destroyed and like that. At that time, 72 couples are about to leave this part and goes to Vijayar Parvat and like that. And then, of course, there is a change of period for another 28 days where there is a better climate, good rains are there, and the whole climate on the earth gets pured and like that, it gets cleaned, swachh ho jata hai, and that's how the day when the people who had gone to that mountains and where they were hiding, they come out of those mountains and then they celebrate, and that is what is known as the 5th, the Panchami that we celebrate, the first day of Daslakshan Dharma. So that is how this whole day is celebrated, and it is like a birthday. No, it's like a birth of this this part of the universe where the religion or the Jain Dharma again gets rejuvenated, and that's why there is a celebrations. and devas and other people, they come and celebrate so many things and like that. And that's how the whole thing goes. There are other stories also relating to this. But the point I wanted to say was that this is like a birth of great thing. And it happens, there are 6 periods, 6 era, and there is the Aksarpini and then Utsarpini. So it generally happens at the end of the Aksarpini, where the everything goes down, and in terms of life and atmosphere on the earth, and everything gets deteriorated, and then ultimately the pralaya or the deluge is there, and there is a revival. So this revival is celebrated, and that's how this dharma, thus dharma or the 10 virtues that are being adopted. So this is time immemorial, or 24 Tirthankaras and like that. When we refer, everyone has referred to that. Now we come to our present literature, how it talks about it. So when we refer to the Shatkandagam, we find that Shatkandagam starts with the this Brahmokar mantra, which is all we know about it. So there's a first scripture, the most ancient scripture, where Brahmokar mantra is taken as a Mangalacharana of that great text, the first text ever written as it is believed. So during that, in that one, we pray to Acharyas, okay. So Acharyas are prayed in this thing, Namo Airyanam, as we always call it. So that Namo Airyanam is what? So that any Acharya is supposed to have 36 properties or 36 guna, that are attributes or the characteristics, the religion or what are not religion, the practices that they have are known as 36. So Acharya ke 36 gun, ये तो बहुत ही प्रसिद्ध है. तो उसमें 12 are relating to tap, 10 is this dharma, 10 lakshan dharma. So all acharyas observe these 10 dharmas, and then of course 5 panchachars are there, and then 6 essentials and 3 guptis. So like the point I wanted to say is that whenever we recite Namokar mantra, then when we say Namo Airyanam, we are respecting and rejoicing the 10 lakshan or the 10 attributes or the 10 characteristics which are being followed by all the acharyas and like that. The tradition of acharyas is eternal in Jain philosophy, and hence this festival also becomes eternal for all of us. So that's how the whole thing starts. And when we look at to our 12-fold Anga literature, or the Dvadashangvani as we call it, so in all the 12-fold literature also, she first referred to Acharanga. So Acharanga is the conduct of munis, conduct of the great monks that they are there. And so when it is relating to conduct of the Jain monks and like that, certainly this is part of it. And there are scriptures we say that there is no difference between Panch Mahavrat and 10 lakshan dharma. In this sense, when we talk of 10 lakshan dharma, it is already Panch Mahavrat is implied there. And we all know that Panch Mahavrat is adopted by everybody who takes renunciation or diksha. So that way, for example, take forgiveness, Kshama. Kshama can be practiced only when you have non-violence. The moment that we practice Kshama, that immediately implies that there is a non-violence. Because with violence, one is in anger mood if one is committing violence. So it is possible to observe non-violence only when there is a Kshama Bhava and like. And similarly, truth is also common to both of them. And then non-possession, of course, is common. And similarly, Brahmacharya is also common. And like that, these 10 dharmas that we popularly call it 10 lakshan dharma, that itself conveys Panch Mahavrat itself. So it's a Uttam word is also added to that, and that means that it is observed in the best possible manner by the monks and acharyas in particular, and monks in general, all sadhus in general, and acharyas in particular. So that's how the whole tradition starts. Every day we remember directly or indirectly all these 10 dharmas. Even if we look at our Angupang and then Prakirnak and all the other literature also, then we find that that also talks about the conduct of Shravak, conduct of a Jain household, or the conduct of monks. And wherever there is a reference to that, there is a reference to this kind of a thing that is observed. So it is coming to us from time immemorial, and that is how this dharma is followed and revered and respected by all of us. If you look at the other literature after that, or if you look at since Mahavir, then of course up to roughly 683 years, or say about 700 years, there was a tradition of all acharyas and like that. And then towards the end of that, about 700 years after Nirvana of Mahavir, Dharsena Acharya and Pushpadant and Bhutbali, they were there. And these great acharyas, of course, wrote Shatkhandagam and things like that. So that is one part of it. There is another interesting point is about Gundhar Acharyas. That Gundhar Acharyas wrote Kashaya Pavli, which is a very famous text. And the point to be remembered is that the whole Kashaya Pavli, and then commentary on it later on in terms of Jayadhala and like that, that all describes about the Kashayas, the patients, Krodh, Man, Maya, Lok, and its subdivisions, and how they go away in the path of moksha. So that's how, even in the very oldest literature, both in Shatkhandagam as well as Gundhar Acharya's Kashaya Pahud, there is a reference to this. And then there are a lot of commentaries on Kashaya Pahud and like that. Means number of commentaries by Nagsen Acharya and Yati Varshabha Acharya and so on. And they also talk of the same thing. And later on, of course, after 1,000 years, by Veersen Acharya. Similarly, that was in the 1st century of BC, means after the death of Christ. I'm not BC, it's 1st century of this counting. So in the 2nd century, I'm simplifying it for the purpose of easy communication. So in the 2nd and 3rd century, we see Kunkunda Acharya, then Uma Swami who wrote Tattvar Sutra. So in the 9th chapter of Tattvar Sutra, it is very clear in the 6th sutra that there is a reference to Das Lakshan Dharma. So that means great that even if Tattvar Sutra and Kunkunda Acharya, they have written or mentioned about these dharmas naturally because they were great monks, great acharyas, and they were following those things. And that's why it becomes a part of the scriptures itself. Then if we come, there are so many literature, I'm only selecting one or two to just show the tradition that has come down to us. Then if we look at Moolacharya and like that, which are supposed to be Vatikeshwar Swami or known as Kunkundacharya, there also, of course, in great detail, there is a description of Das Lakshan Dharma as well as the conduct of the monks itself. So that also in the 2nd and 3rd century talks about it. Then another, of course, Kartikeya Anupreksha written by Acharya Kumar Swami, he also talks about Das Lakshan Dharmas in life. So there is a great tradition in 2nd and 3rd century. Then of course in the 2nd and 3rd century, Bhagavati Aradhana, written by Acharya Shiva, that talks in great detail about how when a person is taking Sanlekhana, this Lakshan Dharma has to be followed by them. And that's how it becomes a great story about this Lakshan Dharma. Then if we come to the 5th century and like that, then Acharya Pujyapat, who wrote Sarvar Siddhi, the famous text, and there also there is a reference to this Lakshan Dharmas and like that. And of course in the 6th century, Yogendra Dev, who wrote Paramatma Prakash, also talks about the conduct of munis and like that. Then in 7th century, Akalang Dev, who wrote a very famous text known as Rajvartik. In that one also there is a reference about, because it is a commentary on Tattvar Sutra. Naturally, the same thing has been repeated quite a lot in the 9th chapter. Then of course, Ravi Sena Acharya wrote later on Padam Puran. And of course, it talks about the conduct of monks and so on. Then Jin Sena Acharya, Harivansh Puran, and then Veer Sena Acharya, the commentary of Shatkhandagam written in terms of Dhala. And like that, the point I want to say that this Acharya tradition and the attributes of the monks to be followed in terms of this Dharma has been very well written here. Then if we come to the Adi Puran, written by Jin Sena Acharya and Uttar Puran by Gunabhadra Acharya, there are of course a lot of descriptions about acharyas and like that. So continuity of this conduct of monks has been mentioned in all those things. Then in the 10th century, of course, Amritchandra Acharya, Purusha Siddhi Upaya, and so many other texts. And of course, Ashtapaudi and like that. Not Ashtapaudi, the other text, it has been mentioned. Then of course, a great text, Gomatsar by Nimichandra Acharya, that also talks about in the conduct of Jain monks and like that, particularly in terms of what happens in all gunstans and how the karmas get eliminated and like that. And the interesting piece during that time is Chamundra. He wrote Charitra Sar. He also talks about the conduct of monk and then refers to this kind of dharmas that we have to follow. Then, of course, Mallisena Acharya, Namit Gati Acharya, they also wrote in the 11th century about Shravakacharya. So again, how the Shravaka can also follow this non-violence of the Anuvrat type of concepts, which is a minuscule, mini form of Das Dharma, has also been preached by the. Then, of course, Sukhchandra Acharya in Gyanavaram in the 12th century, and Ashadhar Panditji in Angar Dharmamrit in the 13th century, and 14th century, the Keshavarani is a commentary on Gumatsa, and then 15th centuries, Gunbhushan Acharya in terms of Tattva-Gyan Tarangini, and 16th century, Pandav Puran by Sukhchandra Acharya, and so on. In 17th century, of course, certain other authors wrote commentaries on Samaysar and like that. In 18th century, Daulat Ramji, of course, very famous, Chedala, he talks about also Munidhar in the 6th Adal and so on. Then Deep Chandji Kasliwal, Todomalji, then a lot of other great scholars, they have also, Jayachandji Chavda, Buddhism, they've also written a lot about how the monk should live a life and what kind of a Muni Dharma is there. And of course, in 20th century, we all know that how through Shanti Sagarji Parampara, the things have started. And the recent stories all known to all of us. The point I was trying to make is that if you look at this Shrit Parampara, the tradition, the heritage that we got through this last 2000 years and another 600 years or 700 years, if you count Acharyas that lived before that, all these have preached the Lakshman Dharma and a very solid foundation that is available in Jain philosophy about this particular festival. It is so popular among Jains, that's known. We'll come to that point later on. But this I was just briefly wanted to talk about the heritage that we got it from so many acharyas, and the tradition. Of course, it is prevailing from a time in infinite times, in the sense that infinite Tirthankars are born and will continue to be born in future. So these traditions will continue. All Tirthankaras will preach that, and whatever literature that is available today and what we discussed briefly today in some whatever last 10 minutes or 15 minutes was the thing that we inherited from preachings of Mahavir. And so it is based on the knowledge, based on the omniscient, based on the Kevalgyan possessed by the great Tirthankaras and followed by the rest of the others. So if we deny or misinterpret or don't interpret, then it becomes our problem and not that of Tirthankaras, because the great tradition, great scholars, great Jain monks, great acharyas have continued these traditions. So what is this and that type of questions we should not raise it. Anyway, we can still talk about those things. And the point I would like to say is that briefly, I need not go in detail into which dharmas and like that, because all of us and most of us who have joined, they are aware about it. But still, in 2 or 3 minutes, I would like to comment on those 10 dharmas and then go to the next point about universal application. So look at forgiveness or modesty, Mardava, Arjava, truth, Shoch, Sanyam, and all those things. They are principles which are, it is to become from an ordinary soul to become a divine soul, Brahmacharya, Bhagwan, to become Bhagavan. In simple words, the point I want to say is that all creatures, all of us, we have anger, greed, and all those things, kashayas. And if we win over these kashayas, that starts with forgiveness, that starts with kshama, and then ultimately it goes to the brahmacharya. Brahmacharya is to become God, to get liberated, to become Brahma oneself. Brahma bhava antaralako, dona vidhi. So both ways it is described. So these 10 attributes are described in 2 ways. One is in terms of distortions, and one is in terms of the attribute of the soul. So forgiveness, kshama, that is the swabhav or the nature of soul, And the reverse of that, in other words, the distortion in the soul is in terms of anger. So absence of anger is forgiveness. So that's how we say. But forgiveness by itself is a great virtue. It is not absence of anger only, but it is knowing about and realizing the soul. In the same way, all the 10 attributes can be described. And so if you look at that, what I wanted to say is that this Lakshan tradition that we have is I call it, whenever I give lectures abroad and like that, I just translate like this. It is the festival of the soul. Atma ka parva hai. Very simply, nobody in the universe, nobody in the world that is known to us, nobody in the all philosophies that is known to us, nobody in all the caste and other people that we know about it will be celebrating the festival of the soul. That is fantastic. A very superb idea that is being inherited by us from all the things. It is more important than even looking for scriptures or inscriptions or looking for ancient monuments where Jain philosophy and other things have been preached. Very good. It's a part of this story. I'm not saying anything against it. That's a part of it. But philosophy comes through this kind of heritage. This type of festival of the soul describes a different kind of a solution, a different kind of a process. And by itself, it shows how one can become Bhagwan itself. The point I wanted to emphasize through this Lakshan Dharma is that unless we know the soul through these 10 attributes, Kshama, Mardha, Varja, etc., we will not be able to understand even God. Bhagwan kya hai? We cannot understand unless we understand these 10 things. So Bhagwan is one who is a Kshama completely, even Siddha Bhagwan. They have all these 10 virtues in themselves, which is the nature of the soul. And all the distortions in terms of anger and other attributes is gone with them. So they have destroyed all those things, and then they are absorbed in the soul and engrossment of the soul. Once again, I want to repeat is, unless we know the soul, that is, unless we know these 10 dharmas, we cannot understand what is Bhagavan. Otherwise, we'll be only thinking that Bhagavan is regulating this world and Bhagavan karta dharta hai and things like that. We'll be always talking about it. So we'll not understand the God. जितना हम 10 धर्म को समझेंगे, उतना ही हम आत्मा को, भगवान को समझते हैं. और जितना हम भगवान को समझते हैं, उतना ही 10 धर्मों को समझते हैं. It is a great tradition like that. This 10 dharmas or 10 dharma जिसकी चर्चा हम करते हैं, we celebrate. Just fantastic, from generation to generation, it is being celebrated. So that tradition is not ordinary tradition. It is just to achieve liberation. It is just to achieve moksha. It is the process to achieve the state of liberation. And so this tradition or this heritage we have, we should be very proud of it and realize that what a gift we have from all our Shuddha Parampara, the preachings of Mahavir and all the acharyas later on who followed, which I tried to narrate briefly earlier, has come to us. So that's what we have tried to analyze or emphasize, so that there can be a greater understanding of this kind of things. So it is very important that we understand this. It is Panchamamrit, and it is also the process to become Bhagavan. You see, the attributes, without understanding the attributes, I'm repeating again, because I feel so good to state that again and again, that unless we understand these 10 attributes of the soul in terms of Kshama, Mardha, Arjav, Sat, and Taptak, all those things, Brahmacharya, it is not possible to understand our own self. We may talk anything, we will not be able to realize the importance of our religion or whatever, our philosophy, religion, philosophy, whatever. We will not understand our philosophy. And if we are not able to understand this, we will not even able to understand our acharyas. What kind of acharyas, great acharyas are there who practice these kind of things and attain liberation. So if there are infinite siddhas, Ananta Siddha Bhagavan hai, then every one of them has practiced this dharma. They have become monks, they were acharyas, and they have practiced. So infinite people in the past have practiced this dharma and then achieve their liberation. And infinite people in the future will continue to practice this kind of a dharma, will achieve the liberation or moksha in times to come. So such a great, wonderful concept which is described in 10 words, the whole path, the whole Jain philosophy, everything, all Jain philosophy can be summarized. Point I wanted to emphasize. We can say other things also. Nevertheless, this is there. And just see the other type of literature that has developed over time. So many vidhans, referring to das Lakshana. So many pujas, so many bhajans, thousands of bhajans on das Lakshana Dharma. And everybody follows, whether we understand religion or not, whether we have studied scriptures or not, everybody celebrates. It's so fantastic. That means there is an opportunity to everybody to understand and achieve the path of moksha. Such a equality, such a communism, this equality of opportunity to become divine, to get liberated from this universe or this mundane 4 modes of existence that we have. 4 गति परिभ्रमण से मुक्त होकर के जीव मोक्ष की दशा को प्राप्त कर सकता है. That's the great principle that has been initiated with this dharma. Of course, we do it every year. We understand also. We listen to our great acharyas, munis, scholars, and so many things. But nevertheless, we have to realize that importance and not turn into a routine or kind of things. So that's the point I wanted to emphasize. And so much literature has come up in the process of following this kind of. So remember again, I conclude this section and go to the last section. And that is, we understand Bhagavan to the extent that we understand the soul. To the extent we understand das dharma, because each dharma is a detail in itself. First thing, Kama, forgiveness, or whatever, it's just not one sentence or one word. We can talk for hours and hours and write books and books on forgiveness. So it is possible to expand it to that stage. So if we understand the real meaning of these dharmas, then we understand ourselves, we understand our Jain philosophy, and what is this life, and we also understand to achieve the liberation. Then I come to the last point, and that is that this philosophy is applicable, it is a universal application. Universal application. In the sense that it applies to Indians, no, it applies to Jains, it applies to non-Jains, okay? Because if they have anger, they cannot, they will not be popular in the family. No, all the sins are committed because of anger. It starts with anger. Then greed and other things goes with it. So all this universe, I will say like this, the whole universe, as I understand Jain philosophy, is regulated by this distortion, these passions, this kashaya. In our tradition, in our Jain philosophy, we don't say that the Bhagwan regulates the world. Bhagwan dunya ko nahi chalata hai. But what then regulates? These emotions only regulate, these passions. ये कषाय जो है वो सारे ब्रह्मांड को चलाती है. And if we don't understand this, we will go on process of transmigration. Janam maran chalta rahega. And if we understand then we can get out of it. So it becomes very crucial to sadhak. It becomes very crucial to all the Jain followers. But keep aside this point for a time being. We'll start with the family life. Okay. So in a family, if somebody has a lot of anger or krodh bahut karta hai, so nobody likes in the family. 1 or 2 days or few days one can tolerate, but after that will not tolerate. Husband, wife will also, there will be limit beyond which they will not tolerate. Sons and daughters, they will also tolerate up to some extent and then they will not tolerate. So this, or krodh, man, maya, these things, if they are caught, nobody likes it. Nobody will like in the family. You will not be a popular person in the family, or nobody will share the details with you in the family. Let it be father or let it be anybody else in the family. So family life becomes meaningful if we don't have this kind of things. Not only that family, suppose we are a businessman, then even if we behave with the customers in terms of anger, or we cheat them, mayachari karte hain, or that we feel like charging, then also they will go away from us. They will not like anymore, will not be able to flourish in the business. So there also customers will not be happy. Even the fellow businessmen will also not be happy if we show anger for small things and do cheating and other kind of things and don't follow ethical standards. So it will not happen. So even if you're doing a service, you're working in some corporate office or somebody else. So even in that service also, if your boss will not like it, if you are angry or show anger to him and so on. So these 10 things, all that you have to have a restraint, you have to behave properly, you have to control your desires properly. Otherwise, nobody will like in the office wherever you are working.
प्लस
So
करने का आगे ऊपर के
that has to be done that way. Similarly, look at the society also. In society also, nobody will like it. Behave strangely or behave with these kind of emotions. And similarly, you look at the country. In a country, the leaders also show anger and like that. Nobody will like it.
9-1.
What is happening in Maharashtra, whatever, who is responsible, that kind of emotions or chat is creating problem. So at an international level, when we behave with other countries, people and whatever governments and like that, nobody likes with these kind of emotions. So it is very important that we practice everywhere. Now, it does not apply only to Jain, it applies to everybody, as I said, but I'm saying a different thing. That anger and other things is not like in any state in India, it is not like in family, it is not like in any country, and all over the world, wherever people are there, people don't like this. And see the depthness of Jain philosophy and this dharma. It is not like even in animals. If animals are angry with one another, they fight, dogs fight, monkeys fight. And same thing if you see how animals, they have anger and they, so it's not like by them also. Everybody in this universe likes to be taken care of rather than become a victim of passions or kashayas and like that. So that's a supreme principle which applies. It applies even to ekendriyas and so many things like that. It is all beings in the universe, all mundane beings, all the people who are going through the process of transmigration, they suffer from these kind of emotions, and this regulates their future lives and like that. So the point is that if we don't follow this, if we don't emphasize this in our own life, then it becomes we create another. It's a question of creating karmic bondage. It is not a question of simply religion or following this and that. No, if we have patience, if we lack forgiveness and all those kind of things, it is likely to create a lot of problems. कितना कोड़ा कोड़ी सागर का बंद हो जाएगा. And this is a part of Muni karma. So maximum bondage can be even for 70 koda kodis. So it's not small thing, not something to be discussed and put questions and try to get some answer. No, it is to be practiced. So the point I want to say is that it is a lifestyle. It is a way of living. It is a way of living this life in a manner that not only improves our this life, we have ethical standards and we have a meaningful this life. And not only this, all our future lives, if you all believe in that, but there is no scope for the dharma or philosophy. Philosophy basically means that you believe that there is a next life, and whatever we do in this life will have a repercussions or will have an impact on the next life. So if that is the thing, then just please give up this anger and all kinds. I'm telling to myself that you give up these kind of things, because this will create, this will take us to very, very low level of existence. It may Deve Ekendriya, we take in this Lakshan Puja Mida, Deve Ekendriya. So they even heavenly people can become one sense. Ekendriji ban sakta. So just think about it. Swarga ka itna vaibhav, and then he leaves that because of not practicing this kind of dharmas and goes to a very meaningless life and life. So this is how this universe application is there. It applies to devas, heavenly beings. It applies to human beings. Charo gatiyom. It applies to Narka also. Charo gatiyom it applies, and then it applies to everybody else. So once we understand this whole philosophy in that dimension, then it is possible to really appreciate this tradition or this heritage that we have got it from our great acharyas and Tirthankar Mahavir, whose preachings or whose literature has inspired us to follow these kind of traditions. So we are following, not that we are not following, we are following, but we have to follow it more rigorously so that it becomes a lifestyle. And then it will affect our future life as well. So this is what I wanted to say. And I summarize by saying 2 or 3 sentences that please see that we attain or we believe in it. If you are not able to believe it, no problem. At least try to appreciate. If you cannot practice, try to appreciate these values. If you cannot appreciate, if you feel that I have no ability to appreciate, even I have not read scriptures and things like that, then it's okay. You think that it's a good system or it is a way of living a life, it is a model of life. Like that you think. But never, last 2 things we should never do. All things, whatever we can do, it's okay. Even if we have a shraddha in it, faith in it, it's okay. But 2 things that we should never do is to say that this is useless or is of no use and I don't believe in it. These 2 things, please do not say. And even if you don't believe it, it's okay, I have to acquire some knowledge out of the 2. Never say that it is a wrong thing. It's nothing, it is meaningless. Every year we are practicing. People say like that, every year we are practicing, what is the use? What use you want? You reduce your emotions, you reduce your kashas, you try to understand more and more. Every, even a drop of water, no? वो पानी की बूंद जो गिरती है वो भी जमीन को गिला करते हैं. 1 drop of water. जमीन में बाढ़ नहीं आएगी, but it is always have some impact. In the same way, this forgiveness, Kshama, Mardava, Arjava, these all 10 dharmas, if we understand them, they have an impact on us. Maybe slow impact, doesn't matter, but it will have impact. So this heritage that we have in terms of this Das Lakshmi Dharma, we should appreciate it and try to follow as much as possible. And even if you are not able to follow because of whatever our belief or lifestyle, at least have some appreciation that yes, I must follow this whenever time permits. Even that sanskar, as I'm saying, a drop of water will have impact. That itself can lead to a better life, better next life, and we can follow, or one can follow, or all of us, we can follow better things in future lives. So this heritage, this great tradition, I try to explain through eternalities. 3 things or 4 things I try to explain. It is eternal. It is coming down to us from time immemorial, and all Tirthankaras, great Tirthankaras, not 24. 24 is this era. Otherwise, infinite Tirthankaras have been there and will continue to be there in there. So it's a great tradition that is coming from Tirthankaras. Remember, all Tirthankaras have practiced this. Secondly, not only our Tirthankaras, but great Acharyas and Gandhars and so many down the line. Everybody worth the name have followed these things to a great extent. It may vary. The extent of style may vary, and it is being handed over to our generation. Our forefathers followed it as a tradition. We are following it. And the last point I try to make it that it is a universal application. So follow it. We can follow it and then only become Bhagwan. जितना 10 लक्षण धर्म को समझेंगे, उतना भगवान बनने के प्रोसेस में या मोक्ष के प्रोसेस में नजदीक जाते हैं. So that's what message I wanted to convey from whatever I could read and understand. Jai Jinan.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor Jain. You have really I humbly and sincerely appreciate. You gave very nice, magnificent, excellent presentation on heritage of our Das Lakshmi festival and particularly on universal application. Hello, can you hear me now, Professor Jayantilal Jain? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I hear you.
Okay, so I would like to invite some questions if they are there. Rahul, can you hear me? मेरे को सुन पा रहे हैं? राहुल शायद एक्चुअली आई एम सॉरी प्रोफेसर जयंतीलाल जी, आज दो चैनल को एक में मिक्स करने के कुछ केओस हो गया है और इसकी वजह से इवन फॉरेन that Ethiopia person also was not able to connect in the beginning because it was actually mandate for only 100 people and some more than 300 people started because the Padmavati program was also connected to this channel only by mistake. Yeah, so lot of people know that they were asking that to you, please speak in Hindi. But this program, they did not understand that this is not the program of Padmavati Mata. It is different program.
Yeah.
Anyway, I have one question.
Sure.
You see, you told two important things that which I have been scientifically also I have been telling to the larger community, that this Utsarpani and Avsarpani both are related to basically climate conditions on the earth. And this is I think I could understand similar kind of thing from your this verdict. Now, but you told that this 10 dharmas, that is our 10 Lakshani Parva. Okay, so whatever we do, and as much we will try to understand, that much we will go near to Bhagwan. This is what you told. And as many times we will do repetition and recycling of that much more and more we will be close to Bhagwan. Okay, just a minute. What do you mean by Bhagwan here? What do you mean by that? Which Bhagwan?
Liberated soul, moksha, liberation.
So, means you are considering moksha as a Bhagwan here.
No,
Am I right?
No, yeah. Those who attain moksha, they are only Bhagwan. No? Of course, by default, we call all the Panch Parmeshti as Bhagwan, no problem. We can call even Acharya as a Bhagwan also sometimes. But that's
So that is okay. But you because here, yeah, please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Liberated soul and the Arant Paramatma. Arant and Siddha are the real gods. They
Yes.
are when Arant becomes liberated, Siddha, of course, is already liberated. So basically, Bhagwan means the liberated souls. Okay? And we all believe in liberation. So
Okay, now I understand, because I understood. You basically we want to, refer to the liberated souls.
right.
This Bhagwan means, and not that Bhagwan who does chamatkars and all those kinds of things.
Of course, Jain philosophy knows.
Because Jain philosophy does not believe, it does not accept any that kind of Bhagwan in Jainism. Okay, so I wanted to make it clear to the whole audience. The next my question is this. You see, many people ask, every year we are doing this 10 Lakshani. But even many times we are doing during the whole year, this you started with forgiveness. You see, Kshama se aapne apna statement shuru kiya tha. So this forgiveness is the best tool to remove many bad things which you told during your lecture, Kashay. If one has Kashay in his family or Krodh, then nobody likes him in the family. And this stops for universalization of this concept. So you want to say, this 10 Lakshani Parv can be universified also, not only restricted for Jains, but non-Jains or any, not related to caste, creed, race and religion.
Right. Very true. That's what I wanted to say.
Yeah. So, how to take this 10 Lakshani religion to the other people. If you want to do this universal, this whole thing, then how we can do this application for others? What will be the mode? How to tell them that this will help you?
I think that these 10 principles we have to take out of these religious connotations and project as ethical principles, then it may be easily accepted by everybody. So if you do that, the religious part is of course important, because it is Atma ki aradhana hai. It is a adoration of the soul itself only. But nevertheless, for its unique importance and applicability to everybody, universal application, we can just maybe write something or do something and project from our Mahasabha angle that yes, these are the 10 principles that one should follow, and the things will be okay. You see how these drugs and other things are spoiling our human society and what is happening. We have some norms about living a life. Then it can save us from a lot of misery that is in store for the human civilization. So it's a very good point that you are suggesting. Yes, we have to somehow try to make it as this 10 principle as a capsule for our style of living or living style, whatever word we may use, art of living type of a concept, that through this 10 principles, we can have a better art of living. That kind of projections we have to do.
Now, this can be really very, very good project, and its a universal application can bring the peace and prosperity in the whole world.
Right.
See? So that's what I was thinking, that how to get it done. My second question is, do you think that during this next, after 42 years, this Avsarpani Kal will be finished, almost 42,000 years, because 21,000 and 21,000 is left over.
Yes, yes.
Out of that, maybe 2,000 we can further reduce. But in Utsarpani Kal also, do you think that Tirthankars will be there in Utsarpani Kal when the climate will be favorable?
Yeah, when the fourth period comes, again there will be Tirthankars.
But fourth period from this backside, or?
Now it is fifth.
No, it is our fifth of the Avsarpani.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Now it is fifth, then sixth will come, then again sixth will come, again sixth will come, then fifth will come, then four will come, like that.
Means you are counting sixth, fifth, fourth of the Utsarpani in the back direction.
Because as you said, it is also related to natural conditions. So nature will not change all of a sudden.
No, you are right. Actually, generally we consider Earth 1 lakh year as an eccentricity period. And in this 1 lakh year, the Earth undergoes to the various kinds of changes, particularly glaciers will deposit it back again. So once it is over and again the Earth will become warmer, then only, Tirthankar is likely to take rebirth again. So maybe after that only. Anyway, okay, I have many questions, but I want to give opportunity to others. Rahul, there are some questions, right? Hello? दूसरे किसी के प्रश्न हैं कुछ वहां पर? Rahul, I think, is busy in other channel now. It looks a bit like that because he is taking care of both the sides.
Yeah,
So,
no problem.
okay. Anyway, so if there are no other questions, then I say thank you very much, Professor Jayantilal Jain. It was really very magnificent and excellent presentation by you. I'm sorry, in fact, I don't know people could hear your introduction properly or not because of this chaos of the two channels, some here and something here. I say from my side and on behalf of All India Digambar Jain Mahasabha and All India Digambar Jain Heritage Preservation Organization, thank you very much, and we are very grateful to you.
Thank you, sir.
Jai Jinendra. Now, if there is Nirmal Kumar ji Sethi, do you have any question? Other people? They must have raised hand. मेरा ख्याल प्रश्न तो बहुत थे, वो कहाँ भाग गए? राहुल नहीं किया था मैंने. हेलो,
राजमल जी,
हाँ, कहाँ पर हो?
किसको देना है?
हेलो, कौन बोल रहे हैं?
आरस बोल रहा हूँ।
राहुल, पारस जी बोल रहे हैं?
हाँ जी
और पारस जी बोल रहे हैं?
हाँ जी हाँ जी
हाँ पारस जी, मैं देखो बहुत सारे क्वेश्चन चैट बॉक्स में आए होंगे ऐसा लग रहा है,
ठीक है।
और जयंती लाल जी को मैंने थैंक यू कह दिया। मेरे को लग रहा है कुछ क्वेश्चन है, तो प्रश्न अपन करवा सकते हैं, अपने पास बहुत टाइम है, आधा घंटा है।
ठीक है मैं यहाँ जो भी लोग उपस्थित हैं में से कुछ लोग जो पार्वती माता पर जो सम्मेलन चल रहा है उसके लिए आए हुए हैं, उन सभी
जी।
से निवेदन है ये कार्यक्रम यहाँ पर नहीं है, दूसरे आईडी पे उसका कोड हमने चैट बॉक्स में डाला है, आप उसमें पधारे। कुछ दो माता जी भी अभी हमें यहाँ दिखे थे, उन माता जी से भी निवेदन है कृपया उस वाले आईडी पर आइए, कार्यक्रम वहां पर चल रहा है, यहाँ पर हमारा आर्कियोलॉजी इसका संगोष्ठी चल रहा है। तो सभी निवेदन, अगर आप पति माँ का वो जो सेमिनार चल रहा है सुनना चाहे तो आप उस आईडी पर आइए, कि आपको चैट में डाल वो आईडी चैट बॉक्स लेकर उधर जो चलिए चैत्र सागर महाराज पर यहाँ पर है, उन्हीं ने आप अगर कार्यक्रम आना चाहते हैं तो उधर उस आईडी पर ज्वाइन करें। और एक मातपीठ है भी हुई नहीं है शायद, मैं चैट बॉक्स में आईडी और पासवर्ड सभी उस आईडी पर आए।
जी, ये बात मैंने 2 बार पहले भी बोली, अनाउंस शुरू में भी किया था। और अभी प्रश्न ऑर्गेनाइज कर सकते हैं जरा? प्रश्न बहुत सारे आए थे।
जी जी।
डॉक्टर जयंतीलाल जी जैन तो अभी भी हैं, जरा उनके लिए प्रश्न होंगे।
एक लेनोवो केस पावर के नाम से डिवाइस है,
और वो केबेडे वहां से ज्वाइन हो गए हैं, ऐसा वो बोल रहे हैं।
उनको सुन लीजिए फिर, that's-
हेलो?
हेलो आवाज आ रही है?
हाँ, आवाज आ रही है आपकी?
हाँ, लेनोवो K6 पावर नाम से डिवाइस है, उनका प्रश्न है।
हाँ, तो एक प्रश्न पूछ, अपना उनको अनम्यूट किया, प्रश्न उनको पूछने दीजिए। हाँ, हेलो हेलो, प्लीज आस्क योर क्वेश्चन।
उनका वीडियो स्टार्ट नहीं, शायद को मैं यहाँ से बोल रहा हूँ कि अपना वीडियो चालू करें।
आप उनको वो वीडियो और उनको अनम्यूट भी कर दीजिए।
ठीक है यार, लेकिन उनसे कोई रिस्पॉन्स आ रहा है।
दूसरा को इतने में दूसरा कोई हो तो दूसरा प्रश्न ले लीजिए।
नहीं, दूसरा तो कोई नहीं है, सिर्फ उनका ही रेज था।
अच्छा,
नहीं, इथियोपिया से वो जुड़ गए तो उनको सुन लेते हैं।
उससे कोई रिप्लाई नहीं आ रहा है।
अच्छा,
मेरे मोबाइल, दूसरे मोबाइल पे वो कह रहे हैं हम जुड़ गए हैं, ऐसा मैसेज आ रहा है।
जी, केबेडिन नाम कोई डिवाइस भी ज्वाइन नहीं हुआ है सर।
अच्छा,
कोई नहीं रहा।
ठीक है, कोई बात नहीं। अच्छा, ये निर्मल जी सेठी साहब हैं बाबूजी, वो कह रहे थे कि मैं 10 मिनट बोलना चाहता हूँ यूं।
जी वो है, मेरे को स्पॉट करता हूँ, अनम्यूट करता हूँ अभी।
हाँ, बाबूजी दिखाई दे रहे हैं।
हो गए।
बाबूजी जय जिनेन्द्र।
हाँ जय जिनेन्द्र, जय जिनेन्द्र।
हाँ, पहले तो ये कि आज जरा इनके जन्म चैनल के ऊपर 2 चैनल एक साथ से प्रोग्राम में शामिल हो गई, और हमारे प्रोग्राम में पद्मावती माता का जो पार्टिसिपेंट थे वो हमारे में आ गए, और ज्यादा ओवरलोड होने से वो केबेडे और उधर का जो इथियोपिया वाला ग्रुप था वो ज्वाइन नहीं हो पाया। लेकिन
अच्छा।
कोई बात नहीं, हाँ वो शायद अभी हो जाए। तो इस बीच में मैं आपसे अनुरोध और विनती करता हूँ, आप अपना प्रवचन दें। आदरणीय श्री निर्मल जी सेठी।
You see, we have heard from Jayanti Lalji very good religious our feelings and religious our education. Jayanti Lalji is very expert in all those things, and we highly appreciate his speech, and not only his speech, but his all the things related to foreign, our discoveries or foreign research work. He is cooperating with us like anything. So we thank him very much. So far I am concerned, today I wanted to tell you about Temple Ea in Ethiopia. This Temple Ea in Ethiopia, when we went there, we were about 18 or 20 people, 18 people about. Then as soon as we entered there in the temple, and after half an hour, I just told them that this was an ancient Jain temple. Everybody was surprised how Nirmalji, within half an hour, you could tell this thing that this temple is a was a Jain temple. Then I described them the whole thing. Number one thing that I told them that there was a Kayasar Murti, maybe about 12 feet, 15 feet or 18 feet height Murti of Tirthankar was there. And to make the Abhishek of the Tirthankar, there were stairs in the wall. In the wall, near, if the Murti was there, then there are steps were there, so that one can go there and have a Abhishek of that Murti. So those things were there. Such things are in our India. Whenever there is a Kayasar Murti, we do Abhishek by climbing on such CDs, on such a staircase. So number one thing I told them, this is the one thing. Number two, there was a pit where the Abhishek water could have been collected there. That pit was there. Third thing, that there were your nalis, drains there were in the temple itself. They, although some they were broken, this drain were some broken something, but there were drain. This was sure. And through that drain, the Abhishek that used to go out, and in the outside, in the wall, which was about 3 to 4 feet wide, from that their wall, there was in outside, there was a drain about 2 feet or 3 feet long. And that shows that the Abhishek, the tradition was there since ancient time. They say that this temple was 700 BC or earlier. And so that shows that 3000 years ago, this was a Jain temple, and there was a tradition of Abhishek, putting water, putting milk on the statue of Tirthankara. And another thing, the name of this Iya temple is also, they say, Moon temple. So moon is our 8th Tirthankar. We use the word the moon for 8th Tirthankar, Chandraprabhu Bhagwan. So I think that this was a Chandraprabhu Tirthankar temple there, and the walls were, we saw about 40 feet height in 3 sides, 40 feet height wall, and in front side some walls were broken, but all 3, and about width of the temple was, might be about 65 or 70 feet, and long was about 100 or 120 feet, like that. So a very big temple, and it was a Jain temple. Another thing which we got there, we went to where they stored the things which they excavated in this temple. So in that storeroom, when we went there, we saw the image of our Siddhisila. We took the photographs of those Siddhisila, and from that Siddhisila the picture, when we came to Delhi, we shown that inscription and that Siddhisila to our professor R.K. Vasisht. He is a professor of genealogy and other inscription, other thing in Delhi University. When he saw the inscription, and they immediately told that this inscription is related to 1300 years ago. This is 1300 BC inscription. He is oversure that this is 1300 BC inscription. And that after reading that inscription, so it is Namo Siddhanam. So Siddhisila is there, that which we same to same, which we in India, we make Siddhisila like same time as we have seen there. And then in the Siddhisila, to find those inscriptions is very important. And then the third thing, that the R.K. Vasisht professor, he is telling this inscription is 1300 BC old. So such things we got there in Iya temple, which shows that this temple was a Jain temple in early time. We have to now make more research on it, and we are trying for the same. And I expect cooperation from all the people. Thank you very much, Rajmalji, and thank you very much, our Jayantilal ji.
बाबूजी आप बिल्कुल सही कह रहे हैं. You are very much 100% correct, because I also found that in Ethiopia during 3000 years before present, or you can say 1000 years before BCE, that Sabian culture was nothing but it is a Shraman culture. And at that time, in that era, that is 3000 years before, mostly Adinath and Chandraprabhu, these two gods, two Tirthankars, were very popular in Ethiopia side. That is this on the Red Sea, this cross and that side, Yemen side and this side, both, which now we say that Ethiopia and Yemen, etc. But basically, they were dominated by the Jain king and whole Jain community, which we should say as Sabian, that Shraman culture, tradition, and Shraman community. And I think not only in that area, but as you know that we all are going with you and under your guidance, not only in this part or in the Asia or in Europe, but recently we have visited South America and we found the Shraman culture tradition over there also. I gave presentation on Karal also. I think under your guidance, we will explore more number of signatures of our antiquity of our Jainism. And I express now, thank you very much. There was another question for Jayantilalji Jain from I think Prakash Kasliwal. हाथ खड़ा किया था. Can I ask him to unmute him? Prakash Kasliwal. प्रकाश कासलीवाल जी का एक प्रश्न आया था बीच में, अभी उन्होंने हैंड रेस किया था. राहुल है क्या उनको अनम्यूट करने के लिए?
ये प्रकाश कासलीवाल तो नहीं है.
उन्होंने हाथ अभी हैंड रेस किया था. ये दूसरा कोई आया, उनका भी हैंड रेस है, देखो.
अभी 2 जन का है, एक
हाँ.
शुभम बिंदागे नाम से.
हाँ, तो उनको अनम्यूट करिए और उनको प्रश्न पूछने के लिए दीजिए, क्योंकि अब इथियोपिया से तो मैसेज आ गया, उनके वहां पावर चली गई है ना. देयर इज नो पावर नाउ, इलेक्ट्रिसिटी इज कट, सो दे कैन नॉट कनेक्ट और दे कैन नॉट गेट द लिंक. हाँ, यस प्लीज प्रश्न पूछिए प्लीज. व्हाट इज योर क्वेश्चन?
जय जिनेंद्र सर. My question is where we can get all this information about Jainism which was there in other countries, like we speak about Ethiopia and all that thing. So you are speaking about South America also. Where do we can get all this information?
Yeah.
Is it there any good book?
Okay,
or...
thank you very much. What is your name बेटा? आपका नाम क्या है?
Shubham Bindge from Kolhapur, Maharashtra.
Yeah. At least there are 2 books which I can say you can refer. One is by G.D. Jain Saab.
Okay.
Both are not there. One is G.D. Jain, Gokul Prasad, G.P. Jain, Gokul Prasad Jain का बुक है जैनिज्म आउटसाइड इंडिया करके. ठीक है, यू कैन रीड दैट. और आप महासभा से ये निर्मल जी सेठी साहब जो अभी प्रवचन दे रहे थे, वो प्रेसिडेंट है हमारे, उनके वहां से आप मंगा सकते हैं. एक और बुक है जिनेश्वर दास जैन जो जयपुर के थे, जिनके भी अभी 2 साल हो गए, डेथ हो गई. और उनकी बुक है जैनिज्म इन फॉरेन कंट्रीज करके. वो तो खुद भी जा करके देख के आए थे बहुत सारी जगह, और मेरी और उनसे लगभग 3-4 बार हमारी मुलाकात भी हुई थी. उन्होंने बहुत सारे सीक्रेट्स जो हैं वो मेरे साथ शेयर भी किए थे जिनेश्वर दास जी ने. एक बार उन्होंने उनके घर बुलाया था तो मैं जयपुर भी गया था, उनके यहाँ रहा था, और उन्होंने काफी सारी बातें की थी, जिसके अंदर मैं आपको बताना चाहूंगा कि आपको पता हो, पहले एक जिसको हम कहते हैं ना, बहुत भारत का बहुत बड़ा स्वरूप था जिसको हम ग्रेटर इंडिया कहते हैं. तो फ्रांस के जो लोग थे उन्होंने नक्शा भी बनाया था ग्रेटर इंडिया, और उसी के अंदर अपन अढ़ाई द्वीप वगैरह की बात करते हैं. तो ये जिनेश्वर दास जी ने बहुत वर्क किया और वो कई सारे देशों में जा करके देख के भी आए थे. तो आप उनकी बुक भी पढ़िए, तो उससे आपको एक बार प्रिलिमिनरी आइडिया लग जाएगा. जहां तक ये साउथ अमेरिका के अंदर एक्सप्लोरेशन की बात शुरू हुई है, तो वो हम लोग अभी गए हैं और अभी देखा है. और मैं एक किताब लिख रहा हूँ, एक चैप्टर भी लिख रहा हूँ, एंटिक्विटी ऑफ जैनिज्म. उसके अंदर उस चीज को मैं काफी कवर कर रहा हूँ, लेकिन पूरा एक बुक हमको इंग्लिश में और स्पेनिश दोनों में लिखने की आवश्यकता है, तो वो कार्य भी हम शीघ्रतापूर्वक पूरा करेंगे। थैंक यू वेरी मच फॉर आस्किंग क्वेश्चन। राहुल, जरा दूसरा प्रश्न एक और आ रहा है।
जी नलिनी गोवाडिया है।
हाँ
जी, अपना माइक अनम्यूट करें।
नलिनी जी, पूछिए प्रश्न आपका। हाँ, आवाज अपना अनम्यूट करिए, बोलिए आपका प्रश्न।
जय जिनेन्द्र भैया, पद्मावती के बारे में जो बोल रहे हैं, तो हम रोज पूजा पढ़ते हैं, रोज जितनी भी पूजा है,
जी जी जी,
पद्मावती चढ़ाओ, मिठाई चढ़ाओ, ये क्यों कर रहे हैं हमेशा?
नलिनी जी, आप गलत आईडी पे ज्वाइन हुई है। हमने चैट बॉक्स में वो आईडी दिया है पद्मावती का, जहाँ कार्यक्रम चल रहा है, प्लीज उस पे ज्वाइन हो जाए।
ये नलिनी गोवाडिया कहाँ, सागवाड़ा की है, कहाँ की है?
जय जिनेन्द्र।
जय जिनेन्द्र, आप कहाँ की रहने वाली
हेलो
हैं?
जय जिनेन्द्र।
हाँ,
आप पद्मावती के बारे में पूछा, हमें बहुत खेद हुआ, दुख हुआ है, और पद्मावती क्षेत्र को जो जूते चप्पल के चर्च की तरह बताया, वो हमें अच्छा नहीं रहा। पद्मावती हमें पूजनीय के शास्त्रों में प्रमाण देखें कि तुमने कनकंदी गुरु में बताए हैं कि पद्मावती क्षेत्र पर पूजनीय, सम्माननीय।
जी पद्मावती जी बहुत सम्मानीय हैं। मैं आपकी बात से सहमत हूँ, लेकिन अभी आप जो हमको प्रश्न कर रहे हैं, ये गलत आईडी, हाँ गलत चैनल पे आ गए हैं आप, वो दूसरी चैनल है ना? हाँ, अभी एक दूसरा प्रश्न है, जरा उसको ले ले राहुल।
जी अभी कोई हैंड नहीं है रेज।
नहीं, ये आ रहा है ना, हैंड रेज आ रहा था अभी।
नहीं, वो उनका ही था।
अच्छा ठीक है, अगर प्रश्न अब नहीं है तो अपने को ये कार्यक्रम अब यहीं समापन करना पड़ेगा, क्योंकि इथियोपिया के अंदर इलेक्ट्रिसिटी पावर चली गई है वहां पर, और वो अब कनेक्ट नहीं हो सकते, इसीलिए मैं अक्सर उनका ही पहले रखता हूँ, और अब अगली बार जो है उनका रखना पड़ेगा। और आपको ध्यान रखना पड़ेगा कि आप दो चैनल को मिक्स नहीं कर दें, क्योंकि आज वो कनेक्ट होना चाहते थे, लेकिन आपकी लिमिट से ज्यादा बढ़ गया तो वो कनेक्ट नहीं हो पाए बेचारे। वो हुए भी थे दो बार हो गए थे, लेकिन वो लिंक का प्रॉब्लम हो गया बाद में, ओवर क्राउडेड की वजह। कोई बात नहीं, हम अगली बार देखेंगे। मैं अंत में आप सभी का बहुत बहुत आभार और धन्यवाद अर्पित करता हूं। विशेष करके मैं श्री पारस जी और जैनम चैनल का भी आभारी हूं, जो हमें कंटिन्यूस बराबर सपोर्ट कर रहे हैं, और हमारी ये जो वेबिनार है, इंटरनेशनल वेबिनार ऑन एक्सप्लोरिंग एंटीक्विटी ऑफ जैनिज्म को, वो सतत इसके ऊपर चालू रहेगी। अभी लगभग 4 और सप्ताह चलने की संभावना है। तो मैं उनको, श्री पारस जी को और उनकी पूरी टीम, राहुल वगैरह सभी को आभार प्रदर्शित करता हूं, धन्यवाद करता हूं। मैं एक विशेष बात और कहना चाहता हूं कि हमारी ऑल इंडिया दिगंबर जैन महासभा में एक महिला है, श्रीमती नीतू जैन करके, और मैं उसका बहुत बहुत आभारी हूं कि अगर श्रीमती नीतू जैन का सहयोग मुझे नहीं मिल रहा होता तो शायद मैं इसको अच्छी तरह सक्सेसफुली आयोजित भी नहीं कर पाता। सो शी डिजर्व्स रियली ए बिग हैंड। तो आई से फ्रॉम दिस मीडिया, थैंक यू टू नीतू, यू आर रियली वेरी वेरी ग्रेट। थैंक यू वेरी मच, हैव ए नाइस इवनिंग। समापन कर सकते हैं अपन।